over the next 20 minutes or so, I'm going to describe my experience from Sunday, having a look at SurrealDB really for the first time, and migrating a demo application I have over to SurrealDB. How was that? And in the process of doing that, using the tools that I usually use for AI observability, Pydantic AI, and Pydantic Logfire, and some other elements of what we call the Pydantic stack. This is the Pydantic stack on the screen right now. I thought worth covering because some of these are new. I think most people have heard of Pydantic validation. That's been around since 2017, downloaded 500 million times a month, used by most major tech companies. Newer stuff, so Pydantic AI is our agent framework. That's the second most popular AI agent framework out there now. It's been out for 13 months, and it's the best type-safe agent framework out there. We have Pydantic Evals, and I'm going to show you a demo of how to use that. And then this observability layer is Pydantic Logfire, noteworthy because, well, for many reasons that I'm going to describe, but in particular, you can use it not just in production, but also in your dev flow. And I'm going to showcase some of that. And then we have the Pydantic AI Gateway, which is for LLM governance. So if you need the ability to use a single API key to access multiple providers, the gateway gives you that. And if you need things like cost control, the gateway gives you that at the API key level or individuals, teams, so that you don't wake up in the morning and somebody's racked up a massive bill and blown the budget for the whole team, company. You get the idea. So I'm hoping then that this talk is going to appeal to some different camps of people, like those who've been thinking about maybe migrating to SurrealDB and are wondering how much work is that going to be. Well, I can give you my initial impressions. I make no claim to be an expert in SurrealDB, but I can share how I found it. And then those who have been thinking about using the Pydantic stack, Logfire, then this will also give you a taste of what you can do with Logfire. And for those who already know lots about SurrealDB and lots about Logfire, then you can just feel smug and win at life. So I have this application. It's a sort of wannabe trader kind of app that pulls in information about what's going on in the markets, because Logfire has a lot of financial customers, so they like this sort of demo. So I've got information about what's going on with commodities, gold, platinum, silver. I've got trading log, documents I can upload, weekly updates and reports I can send over. And I've also got this chatbot part of the application. So Backend, this is a RAG application. I upload relevant documents from analysts who I like Lynn Alden's macro stuff. And then I'll send over, ask it about, what's going on with silver at the moment. Silver's going crazy. Yeah, so I mean, it's pulling in information from the knowledge graph, from the RAG setup. And that's all fine and good. That's the live running version. In the backend, it's using FastAPI, and it's got Postgres with pgvector. So what I did was switch out Postgres for SurrealDB, and that's what I want to show you what the experience was like. Okay. So a bit more about what goes on in the application. It's got React on the front end with Vercel AI elements. There's a really nice integration with Pydantic AI to make that super simple so that you get just a working chat UI really elegantly. FastAPI, as I mentioned, and now SurrealDB for the RAG part of the application. I'm also using Pydantic AI for the embeddings. So we saw a preview of that in the previous talk, which was nice to see. But yeah, this is a relatively recent addition to Pydantic AI. I think it was mid-December. So it now supports embeddings. The way that you create an embedding model is like so. Define your embedding model. If I drill down to the settings, I'm using text embedding 3 small from OpenAI. And you have this embedder class. You pass in the model. I'm also passing in instrument true so that I can get the information in Logfire, and then you can run these embed queries. So there's a whole process going on with the application to run embeddings. And I'm going to show you what that looks like in Logfire using this CLI. So I'll run, let's get going on the demo gods, see how they're working for me today. So we're going to pull in some different documents. We're creating different chunks, embeddings, and I think, that mostly worked. Yeah, it did 8 documents, 99 chunks. And if I head over to Logfire, I've got this instrumented. So yeah, I can see the embeddings happening. I can dig in and have a look at we have these like specific embedding panels as well that I think are quite nice. Tell you about, your dimensions on your embedding model, classic thing that people forget to check. And I can see the whole ingest CLI service here running through. And crucially, I'm also getting information about what's going on in SurrealDB. Because, as we've mentioned before, this is full stack observability. The market right now is bifurcated into these 2 camps of sort of traditional and AI specific. Logfire is the only tool that is genuinely capable of doing both because it originates as general purpose, and we've added all the AI specific observability features on top. So built on Apache Data Fusion, extremely scalable, so genuinely does both. Also, because of that general purpose background, ludicrously cheaper than the other AI observability platforms. Okay, so that's the CLI embedding stuff running. What does it mean? How difficult is it to instrument that stuff? Well, for the embedding service that I kicked off, it was a question of passing in true here. And there's also a configure call as well, Logfire configure. This is what in the ingest call, configure, pass in a Logfire token, give it a service name, that ingest CLI, that's what we were just looking at here. And I'm also using an environment because then I can filter by stuff that's prod, staging, whatever. This is just my local Chris dev that I'm running right now. So that's really powerful for just doing stuff in your local environment. So that's the CLI piece, and that's instrumenting the CLI. We've also got the backend, FastAPI service, and I'm going to start that up now. I think make dev, if I remember, yeah. So, here we go. Let's close off the live one. We're in the local running application now. Let's do some stuff to create some logs, like maybe I'm going to chat to the chatbot. What do we think about Platinum? And this is a good way to showcase in Logfire, as I'm having these sorts of conversations locally, you can see the chat unfolding in real time, right? Competitors who will not be named can't do anything anywhere near this fast. But with Logfire, I can see everything unfolding in near real time. There's my SurrealDB queries, the select on specific chunks. I've got my similarity raw result getting pulled out. So you can sort of inspect the chunks and the content, see if they look plausible. And of course, I've got the Pydantic AI agent run here as well. And I can drill into the input and the output, pop this out. Yeah, it's great. I wouldn't want to use anything else. Okay. I just started up the service. I wanted to show you how to instrument something like a FastAPI backend. So if I head over to the main, I have the same Logfire configure here, and then I'm also calling this instrument Pydantic AI, and then I'm also calling this instrument SurrealDB. So we have a dedicated method for instrumenting SurrealDB with Logfire, and that all you have to do is add that line to your code, and that's how I'm getting these SurrealDB logs into Logfire. So super easy, and yeah, it just gives you that insight into your application. So that's the back end and the instrumentation. Now I'll talk a bit about what did it take to switch out Postgres and pgvector to Surreal. So I've had to set up this schema. Let's open that up. And I realized as I was watching Martin's talk that there's actually like a really nice UI that I could have used to do this. So note to self, next time I'll do that. But Claude sort of whipped this up pretty well. And yeah, I had to define this for the different records, but you know, not too laborious, especially with Claude's help. Then I also had to define the API layer. So I've got different routes for the API endpoints that are using Surreal now. And then the database client, let's have a look at that. Yeah, so I mean, this should be probably familiar. People used to working with an ORM, typical FastAPI patterns to get the DB connection and then run a query. You know, I get the DB connection, pass in the SQL query. Same for running select, update. You know, I've got 200 or so lines of code here for this database client layer, and that's working really well. There's an ingest script to pull in the embeddings and that sort of thing. That was easy to do. I had to define a migration. And then the reason why I've got this Docker here is because I wanted to use the SurrealDB MCP server. If you're not using MCP servers with your observability, or maybe your local databases as well, then I urge you to check that out. If your observability tools don't have MCP, then your life is sadder than it needs to be. And check out, quite a few of them are having them now. Obviously Logfire does, but it's just a really powerful way to add more context to your AI agents. It just makes them more effective at debugging things. There were a couple points during this migration where I got a bit stuck, and because of both the SurrealDB MCP, which just for those wondering, yeah, it's just enabled here in cursor. I use the Docker version of the SurrealDB MCP, and then I have Logfire as well, which means at any point I can just pop the AI pane out and ask it, have I done any embedding in the past 15 minutes? How many chunks, or something like that. I don't know if it's going to go for the Logfire MCP or the SurrealDB one. Okay, it's decided to go for Logfire. Yeah, so it's got access to these different tools, like make arbitrary query. Something that I haven't emphasized is that Logfire under the hood allows you to query everything with SQL. So that's in the live view, it's dashboards, it's alerts. So LLMs are really good at writing SQL, meaning that it works very well. So it's telling me about what's going on, 3 query embeddings for search queries on Platinum, Silver, and a question about a world leader. I don't remember doing that one, but certainly the Silver and Platinum ones look good. So this is just an illustration of the power of using MCP with your observability tools, and it also would work if I wanted to ask it about something in SurrealDB, like, I'm going to cheat a bit here and tell it to use the MCP. Tell me about the schema. I know that the Surreal MCP has a lot of different tools. Looks pretty powerful from my initial like kicking the tires. So yes, it's starting to pull out information here. Obviously, you've got to be careful if this is like production data and that sort of thing. But this is just my local, you know, Spider-Man principle and all that. Yeah, and it's pulling out the schema. This is a simple example of what you might do, but when you're debugging problems, having this sort of additional context is really powerful. Okay, I think you get the idea. Let's keep going. So that was the migration summary. Basically, these steps I wanted to have a feature flag where I could sort of switch between the two implementations. So the sort of new routers in the API, you wouldn't need that, and you wouldn't need to do the same front-end work. So I think that took me about, I want to say, an hour and a half on Sunday, and with a little bit of checking on the train coming up here tonight. So pretty quick. I mean, that's with Claude's help, but still, I think if you're sort of on the fence, worth checking out a switch from Postgres pgvector to SurrealDB. Okay, next up. Got all this stuff running already. We looked at the chat. We looked at the document stuff and the MCP. I think I'm going to move on to evals because that came up in the previous talk. People were asking, how do you check that your models are behaving the way you expect them to, your inputs and your outputs. So evals is the way that is sort of best practice, and there's lots of different approaches to that. Within the Pydantic stack, we have Pydantic evals. So I'll show you what those look like. This is a open source library, sits in the same repo as Pydantic AI, and you don't have to use it with Logfire. It's standalone, but it integrates really nicely with Logfire as well if you want it to. Let's see. I've got some evals for the RAG setup. So I've defined some different evaluators. I've got these prompts for the evaluators. They're LLM-as-judge. And the way you define one is you inherit from this Pydantic evals evaluator class, and you define an evaluate method. And here I've got tests for factual accuracy, like did the RAG chatbot's answer, was it factually correct? And give it a score based on that. So that's one type of LLM-as-judge. I've got a source grounding one that tests whether claims appear grounded and not hallucinated. So there's a prompt for that as well. And then I've got a completeness judge for getting all the facts that are relevant for a particular RAG query. So these are all LLM-as-judge evals, but with Pydantic evals, you can also define deterministic evals in code. So I have one here for abstention, checking if an agent correctly abstains from answering. So, and this is based on sort of particular patterns, like a regex type approach. So deterministic, and you tend to get the best results by combining some deterministic and some LLM-as-judge together. And I can just run this in my terminal. Let's do that now. Evals full is going to take a while. I've got a more lightweight one that I can do. Yeah, evals, this guy. So like I say, this is running locally. If you wanted to, you could run this in your CI. The output table that you get at the end is just available in your terminal. You could pipe that into whatever storage format you want. But I have also, in my evals run file, instrumented with Logfire. So let's take a quick look at the runner. Again, it's just a couple lines to instrument. So yeah, I have in the runner file that pulls in those different judges that I was showing you a moment ago. I'm calling Logfire configure and instrument Pydantic AI and SurrealDB. And that means that once these evals complete running, like they have done now, let's expand this out a bit. I've got my table summarizing the results. Then I'm able to open Logfire, go to the evals tab, and here's the latest run, which is from just now. And I can compare a previous run I did about a little while ago, and see how things compare. These evals are quite different, so it's not the best comparison. Let's see if I've got a better one. Maybe these. Yeah, I wanted to show you some examples with different eval scores and comparing them. I can take a look at the specific outputs that I got, the reasoning on why things worked or not. These are really customizable columns so that you can look at what you actually care about, and you can always drill down into the specific traces for that eval. So in this case, I was evaluating the significance of a uranium rally, and so I've got information about the number of LLM tokens and the cost implications for that particular eval run. I can drill down into the agent run and look at the inputs and outputs again. So, it gives you a lot of flexibility here. There's a Logfire client that you can use to call and pull any trace so that you can create workflows where maybe periodically you're pulling in evals or updating them in your CI. So it's you can use this almost like an analytical database as well. I think that hopefully gives you a bit of a flavor. I want to make sure there's time for questions as well, so I might start wrapping this up now. Is there anything else I wanted to mention in particular? I mean, we have dashboards under the hood. These are all SQL, so you can create like lots of customizations. We have Sentry-style alerts with fingerprinting, so you can replace Sentry with Logfire. You can query everything with SQL. So yeah, in summary, had a lot of fun switching my little trader app over to SurrealDB, and hope you can see the value of Logfire in your AI observability as well. Thanks.
Very quick. While I was witnessing your demo, I was like comparing it in the back to what we use. We use Langfuse. Do you have any prompt management in Logfire?
It's shipping in the next 2 weeks.
Cool. All right. Awesome. That's all.
And it's going to be even more powerful than what people think of as regular prompt management, because you can use it for basically like A/B testing.
Any other questions for Chris?
I have a one around like PI reductions. How do you manage like the data securities on it, especially what if the clients come back to us asking for access to it and we don't want to expose the PIIs on it?
Yep.
Maybe the same question for the SurrealDB as well.
You've got a spectrum of options with Logfire. So the SDKs give you the ability to set up filters, regex style filters on particular keywords that you want to avoid sending. That's your sort of basic option. You can set up something like an OTel collector to sit between your SDKs and Logfire and there you can set up like pretty complex filtering rules as well. For example, I helped a client recently set up rules in there to strip out every AI-related span or attribute on a span that's related to AI. So that's quite easy to do with an OTel collector. And then if you're like really going over into the heavy compliance requirements, then we have self-hosted as well. And then you can really choose your own adventure.
Anyone else? Over here. Shashi.
A great talk. I got a question around the evals and the judges you show. I think you manually define the judges, but do you have like consider like eval as an optimization target? So do you want to have like some optimizers like a JEPA or agentic context engineering? Is this evals gonna be imported back to the from production to the evaluate site, and that can be set as an optimization target for these optimizers? Is it possible?
It warms my heart to hear you answer that question, because we are imminently working on that exact feature. So give us a few weeks.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah. Bring this round.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. I'm really excited to get started with this because I've used some of the competitors who you may have been referring to, and I've been in hell for about 2 months. I'm very excited to get started. One of the questions that I did have was around model support. So what I found with some of the newer startups in the space is they're quite brittle around, they're quite good for OpenAI, but if you're using multimodal models or something like even some of the Llama models, they can fall over. How does it work if I wanted to use it with something that maybe isn't supported yet, or do you have quite a long list of models that you can support? Is it about extending the open telemetry to capture the spans like that? Because I know that with, I think, LangFuse, I had to do that.
Well, with Pydantic AI, then a lot of models are supported.
Nice.
And if it was something seriously esoteric that wasn't supported, it's quite easy to add additional providers and work with us, and we'll help you get it added. But I mean, genuinely, unless you're using something really esoteric, I expect it would be supported by Pydantic AI. So yeah, that should be smooth. And Logfire also works with multimodal as well. So
nice. Okay.
send us whatever sort of data you want.
Yeah, it looks really cool. Like, having worked a lot in observability for the last few months, like, I'm really, really excited to get started with this. So thank you so much for the talk.
Thanks.